This is a controversial video. A lot of people were angry at Charlie for talking about this issue, which is kind of odd, but, you know, really not that surprising. And it's been a crazy time. Twitch is getting very, very, very weird very fast. Here we go. Vanity seems to be a common trait among morons. Well, of course. People that are stupid care about optics rather than substance, generally. Let's watch it.
Obviously, I'm a little greasy. No, I haven't showered yet. So what? Who cares? Have you showered yet? If you did and didn't use Cheeky soap, then it doesn't count. Cheeky is the best soap in the universe. I know, I'm looking disheveled, but what are you? The Mighty Morphin Shower Rangers? I also haven't grown any taller. I'm still short. You want to make a big deal out of that too? Point is, yesterday was a pretty crazy day on Twitch.
This is how I look every day.
Most of you have noticed over the last year or so, I've been very out of touch when it comes to internet creator drama. I haven't been keeping up like I used to, but occasionally I do still dip my toes in sporadically to see what's going on. And yesterday during stream, chat was telling me about two really big things that were happening. The first being a live-streamed birth on Twitch. The second being Hassan apparently using a shock collar on his dog on Twitch. Both of these sounded fucking nuts to me, so obviously I looked into them. And I know the Hassan dog stuff is what's blown up the most, but I actually want to start by blabbering about the live birth, because out of the two of these, this is the one I have the least to say with. The Hassan dog one, I'm be-yapping. Let's start with the live birth, because apparently I've got a very hot take with this. The sentiment across the web, from what I can tell, is people are extremely positive about it, very supportive, and think that it was a wonderful thing. I don't necessarily have that perspective. I'll show you a brief snippet here of what the stream was like, with the baby being delivered in front of, like, allegedly, you know, tens of thousands of viewers. I'm seeing numbers that range from 30,000 to 100,000. I think people claiming 100,000 are including all the people that watch partied the birth.
Oh my god.
There we go, there we go.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Now, I want to be clear, I'm very happy that everything went well with the delivery here. When it comes to home births, I've heard like horror stories and such about things that can go wrong and then not being able to get immediate care that a hospital offers. Like there is just a lot of things that I've read about that can be like disastrous, and I'm super, super relieved that this was not one of those cases. It seems like everything went really smooth. Everything went perfectly. A healthy baby was delivered, and I think that is all extraordinary.
Incredible.
That being said, I really hate that there has been a complete deterioration of the value of privacy. It seems like people don't...
I've got to say, Fandy's been my friend for 8 or 9 years. I'm always going to defend her. So I think that it's great. I'm super happy for her and Brian. You know, I've known her for many years. She lives in the same city as me. So I'm going to have to deviate here. I'm always going to side with my friends. You know, that's it. And so, but I maybe it's farm for content. Yeah, but that's the way it is.
What?
100% biased viewpoint. I'm completely biased. I'm totally biased. Absolutely, I am.
Anymore. Like, there's no such thing as like a special moment anymore if you can't monetize it and publicly display it. Something like the birth of your child, to me, would be something that you would want with your closest family, your soulmate. You know, like this would be something so personal that you wouldn't want just a bunch of strangers peeking in on. And of course, I'm not her. I am not the family. She can do whatever she wants, but I'm giving you my perspective here, that to me, this seems like a sign of the times where everything needs to be like content-brained, content-oriented. There's really no other reason to be live streaming the delivery of your child other than the obvious attention it's going to bring with it. And I don't know, to me that just feels so odd and so, I hate using this word, dystopian. That word is like actual
That's a big
fucking like acid leaving my mouth because it's lost so much meaning with how overly it's used, but this feels so dystopian to me.
I think that's what a lot of people said. As I said before, I mean, I didn't really have a problem with it, right? It's whatever. Even if somebody else did it, I mean, like, maybe you could say it's weird, but, you know, it's not, I don't know. It's not really that big of a deal to me.
Something as sacred as life entering this world into a monetizable spectacle, an event that tons of people were watch partying like it was a fucking football game. So it's not just
that is true. Like S-Fan and Miz watch partying, that part is ridiculous.
just a baby that might need to be breastfed here. She actually went out and was breastfeeding the entirety of the Twitch ecosystem here with additional views for those streams that were watching and reacting to her giving birth. I just think that is so fucking sad that everything has to be content now. Before that baby can even have its first thought or open its eyes, it's already a piece of content. It's already in the social media chaotic swirl. It's already on camera. And to me, that's just crazy. But to a lot of people, it's not. Which I think is just kind of concerning that we've deteriorated so much that everything is like expected to be content now. I'm a viewer of this.
I mean, bro, I really hope that people don't start expecting other people to live stream the birth of their children. That would be like I'll tell you that would be a bit much right there. That'd be a way too much.
Why shouldn't I be allowed in the delivery room when she gives birth? In fact, that makes a lot of sense for me to be there, actually. I've watched her streams a lot. I don't know. I just don't like
makes
that.
Sense for me.
Again, I'm very happy that everything went super well here with the actual delivery of the baby, and everything seems to be very healthy, and I think that's great. I just truly cannot agree with the sentiment that this is somehow like a positive thing, because I don't view it that way. Like, to me, this is very clearly content first, like content like 2 days ago focused, and everyone can eat, so everyone gets a piece of content to watch this baby being born. I don't know. I don't really like that idea. It's
obvious to me, like, I mean, even though, like, she's my friend and I'm going to support her, I can clearly see why people would feel this way. I mean, of course I could see why. But, yeah, that's my viewpoint on it.
Reminds me of a joke I told a while ago about a piece of content about how
it's impossible for you to see somebody's mind that way.
Like, how extreme that would be as, like, a banger video to deliver someone's baby. It's like, that's kind of like that joke, but unironically here. Like, it actually happened. Well, of course, not to the level of, like, some completely unqualified goober, like, delivering a baby. But just, like, the act of a child being born into this world immediately becoming a piece of content. I just don't like that. Anyway, though, let's move on to the next subject. This is the one that is by far the biggest from yesterday, and probably one of just the biggest topics in general, which is Hassan and his dog.
But it is emblematic.
It's actually crazy how much people have popped off about this. It's so strange. No, I mean, as I said before, right? I mean, it's a friend of mine, and, you know, obviously I'm going to support my friends, right? And, you know, everybody can do what they want to do, and, you know, everybody can think what they want to think too, right? I'm not going to tell people what to think, etc. But, you know, I always do try to support my friends no matter what, and, you know, unless they're really doing something that's awful. So that's really my mindset. Sorry, it's the way it is.
Of all of America's much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking just stop. Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You're being such a baby.
Oh.
It's just...
Got him.
You're making her stressed. She just literally is so incredibly spoiled from my mom.
Now, for the life of me, like, I cannot understand what he's even upset about in the first place, that he starts, like, scolding the dog for. She moved, like, an inch, like, slightly off of that. It's like in a video game, like in Metal Gear Solid, when someone gets like a fucking question mark over their head, they're like zip into you immediately. Like, she
does look like that was. Yeah, he's right.
Doesn't do anything really other than.
I think that's a subtext that like people thought it was kind of like an overreaction with him getting like super mad about it. Like, yeah, it's kind of true. Yeah, definitely.
Move slightly, and he is. Noticeably upset. He is upset about that specifically. Even before this incident, earlier in the stream, he had already, you know, gotten annoyed at her for moving around prior to this.
Yeah, okay. The absolute worst country on the planet, straight up, bar none.
Let me guess, is it Israel? It's got to be Israel, right?
A shithole. Kaya, now is not the opportunity for you to down. The absolute worst fucking place on the planet. Just a horrific.
So I think it's pretty clear that the dog
Nobody
moving
knows.
off of that spot is what's making Hassan annoyed at her.
Yes.
Now I saw he mentioned place training. Place is an actual dog training thing. And the whole idea behind it is designating a spot in a comfortable location for your pet.
Sure.
For a lot of people, I know it's like their office if they work from home. And Hassan was talking about how that area is her place. And for dog training, place is supposed to be like their happy spot where they are super safe and they feel super secure. And the way training goes with this, at least from everything I know about dog training, now keep in mind, when we first got Tetra, we did do dog training because my grandmother used to live with my parents, and Tetra gets very excited to see people. It's the cutest thing in the world, but she loves to jump on people. And my grandma, living at my parents, when we'd go to visit, or if they came to visit, if Tetra would jump on her, it could cause injury. So we did do dog training in order to learn how to, like, help with that. We didn't do any, like, fear training or anything.
Electroshock fucking therapy. Like, you've got a shock rod. All right. Don't you jump. Don't you do it.
Thing like that with shock collars or whatever, but place was something that we did learn about. And when it comes to place, you do not want to like make it something stressful for the animal, at least in our teachings. It's supposed to be a comforting spot for them, not like a stressful thing where they just go there and fucking like, you know, blue screen in the brain and just sit there idly comatose. And if they don't, they get punished. So he's calling this her place. But when she's moving from the place, he's scolding her. That's not what we were taught you're supposed to do when it comes to place training. That kind of defeats the purpose of it. I don't know why he would be getting so upset at that, like angry at...
See, like, I've never really had a dog before. I'm going to be honest. I never had a dog. We had some cats. This cat wouldn't do, like, we tell a place. The place is wherever the cat wants to fucking be. Well, you try to train a cat doesn't do fucking anything. They do whatever the hell they want. And so, like, I don't know how these cats work at all. I don't know how dogs work either. Like, I never even tried to figure it out. But, like, cats are way smaller, too. Yeah, definitely. And so, like, it's, to me, that, yeah, this explains a lot about you. I mean, I never had a dog before, ever. And so a lot of this, to me, like, I remember whenever I was hearing about this whole controversy, like, I guess, like, a shock collar would have been bad because it's like you're going to shock the dog. I mean, like, yeah, but I never really thought about it, if you want me to be honest, because I've never even had to.
The dog for moving from place. That really does kind of defeat the whole purpose of it. And then in that clip, it seems like he reaches for something. Like he looks off screen and he extends his arm to something, and then shortly thereafter, the dog yelps in pain, and Hassan turns around and calls her a baby, and then tries to reassure the chat that she is spoiled, and then goes on to say that she's spoiled because his mother lets her, you know, have free roam around the house. Now, he and the community are claiming that he didn't use a shock collar or anything, didn't like zap her, you know, fucking Palpatine lightning blast her or anything like that. She got her dew claw stuck on that spot, and that's what made her yelp in pain. I guess quick dog lore breakdown if you're not familiar with how those creatures function or anything.
Yeah, their mechanics.
The dew claw is separate from like the paw pad area claws. The dew claw is a little higher up on the leg. And it's an old trait from back way in yesteryear when dogs needed that extra claw. It is just now an evolutionary leftover. It's not, it's still present, but it's not something that obviously gets utilized by dogs to the same degree it used to. It is a sensitive area. That is true. If you've ever cut your dog's nails, or if
that's what happened, then why did they change the story to it's a vibration collar? I mean,
ever taken your dog to like a dog salon or something, and they like gave your dog a nail trim, you probably noticed that when it comes to the dew claw, they're very defensive on it, like cautious, because it is such a tender spot. I have watched this clip like fucking 10 or 15 times now. And today I had some friends come in from out of town, so obviously I've been out most of the day at the farm. And this was actually a conversational topic. It's become so big that it was brought up by them. And every single person, and pretty much everyone...
I have the same thing happen, where like a lot of my real life friends will text me, and they'll be like, so I remember this with the game. Well, remember whenever that kid came up and say that he wanted to dedicate the award for Elden Ring being Game of the Year to the reformed Jewish rabbi Bill Clinton? They were like, so yeah, man. So like, what was that thing with the Game Awards and Bill Clinton? Did Bill Clinton make a I don't think Bill Clinton made Elden Ring, did he? I'm like, no. No, he didn't. It was a stupid kid went up there and did that. And they're like, oh, wow. So Bill Clinton he didn't make Elden Ring? Like, no, he didn't. Oh, okay. That's wow. That was funny. Okay. Yeah, that we know of. Exactly.
I've seen online outside of Hassan and Hassan's community is all saying the same thing. That yes, it looks like the dog does touch its leg to that spot on the bed,
not really.
But it doesn't look like it gets caught or anything. So it feels very unlikely that that is what caused the dog to scream in pain. Like,
I think there's also like the component that his hand was moving at the exact same time that the dog moved its leg. I think that's the big difference there too. It's not like it's happened with like one thing. It's that these two things happened at the exact same time. Yeah, I think this pretty much sums it up right here, guys. Oh, it doesn't even show the emote. What the fuck? Okay, never mind. Yeah, well, it was the dog, all right? And yeah, there we go.
That's what made Kaya, that's her name, yelp. It doesn't seem to get caught or snagged on anything, and dew claws aren't so sensitive and so tender that even touching them would cause like a panicked scream or anything.
Yeah, sure.
Unless she has an injury there, but I don't think Hassan has mentioned that, at least not that I've seen. So it feels to me very unlikely that that's what caused it, based on everything that we can see. Now, initially, even Hassan's community was starting to question, did he just shock Kaya?
Yeah.
Did he just use a shock collar on stream? And the clip instantly started going viral, and he kind of downplayed it and shrugged it off as like, oh, a bunch of bad actors attacking me for some fucking phony baloney, barnacles here, you know, unbelievable.
He does that with everything. I mean, to be fair, like that he usually dismisses every time that if there are people mad at him, it's because of Israel. If there's other people mad at him, it might also be because of Destiny. But it's never because of him.
It's all a load of fish paste. And instead of doing what I think most people, like not even just streamers, just normal people would do, of like showing, no, look, it's not a shock collar, obviously I didn't shock my dog, he instead just brushes it off saying, nope, it's not a shock collar, you're stupid for thinking that it is. And that's the attitude that his community had as well. Like, oh, you must have psychosis if you think it's a shock collar. Which I think is a little odd because it's the easiest thing.
People see the video and they're going to draw that conclusion. I mean, like, even if you don't think that's the case, you have to see why somebody would think that. And this is, I think, the big problem that a lot of people have is that they're never able to look at something from a perspective of another person. So, like, if you can't even figure out why somebody would think something, you can never really understand them. And really, I think it's easy to understand why, it's easy to understand why that would happen.
The world to prove, right? You have all these people saying this shit, it's not true. Well, it takes actually 3 seconds just to unclip that collar and just show like, hey guys, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea here. This is not a shock collar. Look, here's what it is, and then explain.
I think the reason why he didn't do that is because, I mean, like, well, there could be two reasons. Okay, the first reason, that's the most obvious, would be that it was a shock collar, and the second reason would be because he didn't really think it would be a big deal. I think that assuming that it wasn't a shock collar, if you take him at his word and it was not a shock collar, I think that if he could go back in time, he would have done this. I think he underestimated how much people would react to this negatively, and he just blew it off as like just like the LSF controversy of the day, but it turned out to be like a much bigger thing. That's probably what I think happened. Like if I'm thinking the way that he's thinking, right? And assuming that he didn't just shock it as well, right? Yeah, and there it is. That makes an ass of you mean? Well, no, does that make sense, right? I mean, like, that's really it. Then he is Delulu. I mean, giving him too much credit? Well, I'm not giving him credit. I'm just trying to look at it from different perspectives to see if I can understand, like, what would make sense. Why would it happen? Why did he not do it? Like, I want to understand why somebody does something, right? Like, because that's really, the question is, like, yeah, it happened, but, like, why did it happen and how did it get there? And so that's really what's more interesting to me. But yes, obviously, I think that the simplest answer that a lot of people would go with, the Occam's razor answer, why didn't he show that it wasn't a shot caller? It's because it was. Sure. Of course, that's what everybody was saying.
Like, I feel like even a non-streamer, like a complete normie, average Joe Schmo, if you went to their house and saw that happen, or like, hey, did you just shock that dog? They'd be like, oh my God, no, this is clearly a misunderstanding. No, that's not what happened. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like most people would be very quick to show you and prove that it's not a shock collar because it's so quick and so easy to do. And the fact that he doesn't is odd. Like, it is very peculiar.
It makes him look guilty. That's that's what happens. I mean, it does. It makes him look guilty. Whether he is or not, I mean, you have to acknowledge that it does look that way. It makes it look that way for sure. Absolutely. I love Charlie the Fence Sitter. I mean, like, I don't think you should expect everybody to immediately adopt your train of thought and, like, your mindset. I think that if you do that, you're just going to make sure that they will adopt the opposite mindset and the opposite train of thought. Most people don't like being told what to think or how to think or what to believe or anything like that. They just don't want to have that happen. They want to be talked to and treated that way. And so, really, I mean, I think his analysis of this is very fair. This is extremely fair. Acknowledging an accusation makes you look guilty too, maybe, but yeah, he's not fence sitting. If anything, Asmon is. Well, yeah, I mean, I've tried to not be, like, super judgmental. Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't you in the moment. Like, that's such a natural thing to do, especially for what's easily a slam dunk. Like, you have all these people attacking you, you could easily just come out and fucking slam jam thank you ma'am on them by just being like, nope, it's not a shot caller.
Nope.
Look,
yeah, exactly.
Here you go. The proof is in the pudding. Behold. Like, it'd be so quick, so simple,
obviously,
and it would be irrefutable. But that didn't happen yesterday. Instead, it was kind of brushed off as, like, you've got to be fucking stupid to think that, Hassan would shock his dog on stream, and he just kind of propped it up as, like, the only people that would believe this are,
and I think also, like, this is another issue, and this is kind of like a meta level issue, is that Hassan has gotten away with, I think, a lot of things that he probably should have gotten at least a suspension for. Like, I don't really want to call for a ban on anybody, but, like, he probably should have taken a couple of days of a vacation for a couple of things that he said, right? I think so, at least, right? And I think that when a person repeatedly doesn't experience consequences for their actions, what ends up happening is that they don't ever think about how their actions will be perceived by other people because it doesn't matter as much. And I think that's really what happens, is that whenever you have people, and you see this too with the Ethan Klein lawsuit against, like, Denims and Casey Tron and those people, is that they're so used to never experiencing consequences for any of their bad behavior. They think that because, something is happening in Palestine, that it's impossible for them to have a lawsuit filed against them. And I think that's why it's important to make sure that you treat people equally and you don't let people kind of just totally turn themselves into a weird version of themselves. And I think that's what happens, is that because you keep getting away with stuff like that, I think that it does allow a person, it's kind of like spoiling somebody, right? Is that they just get more and more indulgent in their own behavior and not listening to other people, etc. And I know that's happened to me personally, and I've seen that happen to a lot of other people too. A spoiled kid never learns. Exactly. They think they're untouchable. Yes, they think they're untouchable and there's nothing that's ever going to happen. So I think what happens is that, you have somebody that does that a lot, and then eventually a big issue happens that they can't just kind of brush off, and it ends up being like a massive watershed moment where people are bringing up like 50 other bad things at the same time because all those other 50 other bad things just got ignored as well. And I think that Twitch really, you're describing as Lucifer effect, in case you're curious. Yeah, I've never heard of that before, but I mean, sure. So that's it. Let's be real, Twitch won't take action. I don't think they're going to take action either. I said this yesterday.
Bad people in the first place, or like, grifters, this kind of thing. And I just find that to just be so disingenuous, because most people are going to see this and it looks like you shock your dog. Given how annoyed you are with the dog, and
even if you didn't, it looks like it. Yeah.
Right before she yelps out in pain, you roll your eyes, you look at something off screen, you clearly are you're reaching off screen, that is very clear, and then the dog yelps while you were still annoyed, and then instead of doing what I feel like most dog owners would do with
I think also so if this was the only point on the graph, I think people wouldn't have really cared. But there were a few other clips, and especially with him pulling his old dog's tail and telling he's gonna kill the dog, which obviously he's not gonna kill the dog, but pulling the dog's tail. Whenever you have multiple clips of the same thing, and then you have kind of this missing link moment that puts all of those clips into context and then makes people see them in a different view. I think that's really what kind of enabled a lot of people to believe it. It wasn't really just this clip. It was 3 or 4 other clips that were also problematic as well. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's usually people will not freak out over one thing. I think if there were no other clips and this was the only time that anything like this had ever happened in any capacity, and he had never, had one of those things where he was place at the dog or anything like that, I don't think that you would have had as much of a pop off, right? But when you had all these other things, him talking about a shock collar before, etc., I think that's what really kind of got people, that's what got people to go even farther. Just like a Pirate. Yeah. Actually, that's a great example. So Pirate software, this is very similar to the Pirate software situation, where whenever Pirate had the Warcraft drama, that was only one thing. Then people went back and they said, well, what about whenever you did this thing in Ashes of Creation? Well, what about whenever we think that you faked your run in Animal Well? What about when you faked this other thing or you faked that thing? And so then you start putting all these pieces together. And again, this big clip acts as a watershed moment where it's the missing link that justifies and connects all of these other behaviors that were, a little bit odd. And then it makes those behaviors seen as bad. And I think that's what really happened. Does that make sense? Yeah, so as I was you jealous that video before the other video's gone up? Yeah. Do you guys see kind of where I'm coming from with this? Are you going to watch the committee hearing? Whenever it happens, yeah, it's not anytime soon.
See, is everything all right? Why'd she just yelp in pain? Instead of doing that, calling her a baby and then mentioning how spoiled she is about roaming the house, that doesn't compute. If this was her dew claw getting stuck there and then yelping in pain, you would have no idea why she's yelping. Yeah. Why is your first instinct to call her a baby and then mention how spoiled she is about, your mom letting her roam the house? The response to it just doesn't really seem to make sense if what happened is her dew claw getting stuck there. I just don't see why he would respond that way, so aggressive about it. It just doesn't really make sense. Now, a bunch of super sleuths were diving in, really analyzing frame by frame. Apparently...
I mean, sure. Right? By solid logic, yeah, it is. And that, yeah, of course.
Has mentioned that she does have,
if you hit somebody and then asked why they were being such a baby? Yeah, definitely. Why didn't you and Hassan hate each other? I think I've been the only person who was... I think that I've probably been the most generous to Hassan with this entire controversy. I've been the only, there have been people that have just taken his side categorically, right? But that was always going to happen. But I've been the most generous and the most accusatory out of everybody. So yes, unfairly. Well, I mean, again, I try to be fair. I try.
An AirTag on her collar. People also saw a doohickey underneath the AirTag right before the moment where she yelps, where there's a green beep, beep. Blinking gadget there, a little fucking gizmo. Yeah. And people were speculating that's probably the shock collar. And now today, Hassan went on stream to show the collar and explain what it is that everyone saw.
This is the one that people are talking about. Okay, this is the one.
Is he going to show the loaner box video?
This is the one that they saw. It has the capacity to vibrate, and that's it.
Yeah, somebody says you never had a dog. That's like saying someone should know about a race car whenever they've never owned a race car, so you don't know the sign to look at, and that's okay. Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, I can look at something and be like, yeah, this kind of seems bad, right? But, I don't have, any real insight into it. Does that make sense?
Are you happy? That's it. Good. There's the AirTag. There's the fucking vibrator. It also has a flashlight component to it at nighttime, and it also has a tracker on it when she gets lost. If she were to actually get fucking lost.
So on stream, he was showing that the unit everyone saw is something that can only vibrate. It can't shock. It also has other things like a flashlight and stuff. And then he went on to explain why he has a vibrator there for the sake of
dog.
Training.
Well,
and
actually,
that
that doesn't
kind of
sound
thing.
any better.
Now,
but
since this was a day later, obviously people are going to be wondering: Is it
a different
real?
one?
Is he telling the truth? You could have swapped it out. You could have changed out the previous model with one that doesn't have shocking capabilities. Because there are vibrate-only units, and there are some that have vibrate and shock. Something he also mentions that those kind of things do exist. But since this was so far after the fact, people are always going to wonder, well, did he just switch it out?
Exactly. And again, that's what I said even before he went live yesterday. I said it doesn't matter what he says. People are just going to say, if he proves it, if he takes the color off and he showed it, people would say that he swapped it out. I said it. That's exactly what happened. Just how it is. People on the internet make their opinion immediately. And getting somebody to move their opinion away from where it's anchored is really, really hard to do. And this is and also and you could easily say oh yeah, because I don't believe him in this case or whatever. But I think that we also have to acknowledge that there is a very large component to this where people just make up their mind on things instantly and that's it. So yeah. You're accidentally acting irrationally? Well, I mean, I don't... You're genuinely acting... Is it... I don't think... You talking about me or you talking about in general? This is not proof, though? It's such a weird... I mean, you're genuinely acting irrational. What about this is irrational? I don't even understand. That doesn't even make sense. No, what I'm saying is that there are a lot of psychological studies that show that your first impression of something or your first impression of a person, you would need 15 to 20 additional impressions after that in order to undo the first impression. I think that that's a psychological reality. And then you also have other components of just looking at the way that people make decisions logically and knowing the way that people on the internet perceive things. So really, I'm not even talking about this topic. I'm talking about a phenomenon with human behavior and human thought. Most people do not want to admit that they are wrong categorically. This is not having to do with the dog. It doesn't have to do with Hassan. It doesn't have to do with me or Charlie, Donald Trump, Israel, Hamas, China. It doesn't have to do with any one thing. It's an anchoring bias. Once people have their opinion, a lot of people don't like the idea of admitting that they were wrong. It's that simple. And I think that once you, and that's why it's so important to make sure and you can see now it goes back around to what I said at the beginning, is that whenever a person never experiences consequences for things that they do, then whenever they actually have something bad happen, they don't know how to handle it properly because they've never effectively leveled up to that point. You see what I'm saying here?
And something else that spawned from this is, it looks like there's tape on it. So when you watch it and you pay attention to the actual unit, it looks like there is just some black tape on it.
It does.
And a bunch of people online started to try and find out what brand this is, because I don't know if I missed it and everyone else missed it, but I don't think he mentioned what model this is, what brand or what model, anything like that. So people don't know what it is. They're just going to have to take his word for it that this is a vibrate-only unit. And since there's no visible prongs, you're led to believe that it can't shock or anything. However, I
think also there's another component to this that's unique to Hassan, is that Hassan lies about people all the time. He lies about people. He misrepresents their positions. He says that they are things that they're not. He does this constantly. And so what happens really with that is that people stop taking you seriously and they stop looking at you as somebody who is telling the truth. They just don't really believe you. And so there are even people that agree with him, and they might not like the same person, but they don't really view what he's saying about a person as being completely authentic or accurate or fair, if that makes sense, right? And so what ends up happening again is that if you have a history of lying, people will think that you're a liar. What? Wait, what? No way!
Shock collars that have detachable prongs. In fact, the shock collars we use on Skill Check channel when we play Magic the Gathering and make a misplay and we shock ourselves, you can take the prongs off of those. I think that's a pretty standard feature in a lot of shock collars, I think. So, like, you can just take the prongs off. And when you increase the brightness here, it does seem like there's definitely tape. I've seen this picture floated around a lot. And people believe that they have narrowed it down to a model called the Educator ET400, which seems to match it visually one-to-one in all aspects except for the bottom side there, where on the ET400 there are two prongs there, but you can take those prongs off from what I can tell, at least online, and in the Hassan clip, there's a bunch of tape there, which potentially would be there to cover up the holes. I don't really know what else there would be tape there.
It looks like tape. It definitely looks like tape. There's really all there is to it. Yeah, it's all there is to it. To be actually fair, the most logical conclusion is to admit doubt about Hassan's justification, giving out a day to possibly tamper or swap with the collar. The delay in itself allows doubts. Yeah, everybody said that. I mean, like, Dan said that. I said that. I think it's pretty obvious that's the case. So, yeah, of course, you can really take those prongs that are literally screws. I mean, I've never pulled it all out or whatever. But and then also, like, here's another really good example is that, like, whenever Hassan says that the people that were unhappy about this are being led by a far right, like, it's being led by Israel trying to make him look bad. I think that really damages his credibility because there's going to be a lot of like normal people that are not totally consumed by like this type of thinking that will hear that and they're going to be like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? This is Israel. What do you mean Israel? Like, what are you talking about? What does Israel have to do with this at all? And so, like, what credibility? Well, like, there's always new people that are going to discover your channel and find out what's going on. And, you know, like, and there's also a lot of people that don't really know about him. And this is, like, one of the first times they're really seeing him. And so whenever you're making up bullshit like that and saying things that are just, in my opinion, very much just misrepresentations, I think that people, like, a lot of average rational people see that and they're like, oh, that's weird. Like, what? Like, this seems weird. And whenever I think that a person sees that you're lying, they're going to assume that other things that you're doing are also lies.
I don't really get that. Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense. But of course, I have no way of knowing 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt that Hassan shocked Kaya on that stream or anything like that. But
yeah, that's my mindset on it too. Seems pretty weird. Looks suspicious. But I can't read minds. I can't be there in the room. You know what I mean?
Based on the old eyeball test, the old smell test, what you can literally see, he is annoyed with Kaya. He expressed it a couple of times, scolded her. He rolls his eyes. He does reach for something off screen. And as he is reaching, it seems like when he finally gets to something, she yelps in pain. And then there's no real, like, concern from him, and instead talks about why she's like a spoiled baby. I don't see anything that she could have like hurt herself on. It doesn't seem like her dew claw or anything gets tangled up in the bed. So to me, it feels like it is something
it looks really bad.
He did, even if it's not a full.
Yeah, and any person that's just watching this is going to immediately come to that conclusion. It's very hard for somebody not to do it. You don't need to read minds. The fact it's a vibration color means the dog is shock collar trains. You use vibration and shock together, then the vibration is associated with the shock in the dog's mind, and you use it as a threat to stop the dog from doing shit. It's simple Pavlovian conditioning. I mean, you're right. Everything you said is accurate. Like, I mean, like, sure.
Full-blown shock. He didn't get her with, like, a Dungeons & Dragons lightning bolt or anything like that. If it is a vibrate-only unit, I feel like he definitely did press the vibrate in that instance there.
Seems that way,
I see nothing else that would cause that yelp here from everything that we can clearly see. And if that is the case, and that, to me, that's what it seems like the case is, that's super fucked up. She didn't do anything wrong. I don't think there's anything.
And also, like, keep in mind at that point, that means that he lied because he said that he didn't press anything. And, like, in my opinion, this is the way that I look at things. Is that when somebody lies once, they're a liar. You can't trust anything they're going to say after that. You can hope that they're telling the truth, but you can never go into anything with them in good faith. That's it.
To warrant him being upset in the first place. And to be upset enough to press a, like, correctional button on that device is so beyond fucked. There was no bad behavior or any kind of correction or punishment needed to be doled out there. All she did was move on the bed slightly, like slightly move off the bed.
I think also, like, this is another issue, is that one of the reasons also people get really mad about stuff like this is because when you're told that, you know, like, what you're seeing right in front of you isn't real, and actually it's this totally separate reason that, like, you know, kind of makes sense, but, like, not really, and it contradicts what very, very, in your mind, obviously is what you've seen, that then becomes an insult to every single person that you're telling it to. Because when you're gaslighting and you're lying, I mean, gaslighting is like a new, like, fucking buzzword term, but you're effectively lying to somebody. And by doing that to them, you are insulting their intelligence. You're saying that you are such a retard, you're so stupid, that this is something that I think that you're going to believe because you're an idiot. You see kind of what I'm saying, right? It feels like you're stupid. Yeah. So it feels like every single person that you tell that to, that hears it, is now personally insulted that you think that they are stupid enough to believe something that contradicts what they saw with their own eyes. That's fundamentally what the problem is. And that's one of the other reasons why people got so mad about it too. Yeah, it's actual gaslighting. Exactly. Right? That's it. Don't believe your lying eyes.
Fucked up. But if this is all wrong, it's all a bunch of hooey, and Hassan didn't shock or vibrate or do anything at all here to cause Kaya to yelp in pain, I think, A, it would have been very easy to immediately in the moment prove that by just showing the collar, which, again, I feel like is the most logical thing most people would have thought to do. But also, B, I still think all of his, like, anger and, like, annoyance at the dog for moving around off her place is just fucking weird, too. And then, of course, people were...
It did seem very disproportionate. And I think that's another reason why, is that whenever you have somebody who is, like, aggressive, I think in general, like... So, I don't want to go as far to say that, like, this is, like, a symptom of abuse, because I think that's a bit too much of an accusation, and I wouldn't make that. But I will say that the code switching and tone switching that people see sometimes is going to give them a remembrance of maybe a person in their life that, you know, was, like, super nice and people like them, but as soon as it's just you and them, they're hyper abusive to you, or they're hyper aggressive or hostile to you in a way. And I think that definitely resonates with a lot of people. People can be weird towards dogs. Exactly. And so, like, whenever you have, like, that tone shift that's, like, binary like that, I think that triggers, unironically, it triggers a lot of people.
Mentioning how Kaya's on stream 8 to 10 hours a day, and then just all of a sudden, randomly, he decides to shock her today. Yeah, great story you've got there, Buster. Really shows how stupid everyone's become. Everyone's really fucking dumb to believe in something like this.
Yeah.
All just because he hasn't in the past on stream.
Yeah.
And then, of course, people take it a step further, saying none of his friends have ever called him out for using a shock collar, thus this has to be a load of...
Well, none of his friends have called him out for supporting and promoting terrorist propaganda either. The fact is that, and this is something that's very important to keep in mind, is that Hassan is a very large content creator. And because he's a very large content creator, there are very few people, and his community is extremely toxic. They are extremely hostile. How do I know that? Because they've gone after me. They've gotten mad at me. I would say that Hassan probably has, and I'm sure he would say that I probably have, one of the most toxic, if not the most toxic communities on the internet. Like I would say, I mean, to an extent. And why is that? Is it because there's a lot of people that watch us? Maybe that's it. I don't know. But either way, like, his community is extremely toxic, hyper aggressive. They love, as soon as somebody is like, they're calling Charlie a Nazi, a right winger, and all this stuff because he brought this stuff up. This is, but what the fuck are you doing? Like, whenever you're a community and you're going to that length and you're getting that radical about something, what ends up happening is that, like, there's a lot of, again, like, just reasonable people that are in the middle that see this and they're like, wow, that's kind of weird. Like, what the fuck? And so also a lot of other content creators don't want to criticize somebody like Hassan because Hassan's community is hyper aggressive. They are very vigilant. They will go out and make tweets about you and accuse you of things that are just totally fucking insane. Just say slanderous, awful things about you for really no reason other than you being on the wrong side of a certain issue. So that's really, find your personal info too. Exactly. Yeah, you've got more and more and more of that. And that's the big reason why a lot of his friends probably don't call him out on this. I mean, and maybe some of them agree with her. They think it's not happening. But I'm sure, like, why is it that nobody's ever criticized this outside of, like, the people that are around, like, kind of like my circle, I guess? Well, the reason why is because they don't want to be victims of that type of harassment. And I think this is something that happens on the internet as a meta level thing. This isn't something that Hassan has a monopoly on, but a lot of people don't criticize larger creators because they're afraid of getting attacked by their audience. And that's it. It's very obvious.
Oh, fucking horseradish.
Couldn't that apply to you, calling him a terrorist supporter, though? Well, I mean, like, whenever you play terrorist propaganda and say that you support the Houthis, that makes you a terrorist supporter because the Houthis are a designated terrorist organization. Like, I don't think that Hassan is a terrorist, and I don't think Hassan wants to kill innocent people. Like, I don't think that's the case at all. But whenever you do that, categorically, that's the case. And there's no reason, and, like, it's easy to say, like, for example, it's easy to say that, like, I support, Palestine, and I'm fine with this. And, even I can understand, like, where a group like Hamas comes from without openly endorsing or refusing to condemn them. And, like, there's a huge spectrum here, and you don't have to land, like, but there are not two options here. There's like a 50 options, and it's been reduced to two by people on the internet that are mentally ill. Do you see kind of what I'm saying here? The Shinzo Abe gun tweet? Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a good example too, right? And I get what you're saying, but I'm not granting you the same courtesy. Well, it's not. I'm not. It's not about, like, the way that I treat him. It's the way that I treat you guys, right? Like, I try to give my take on this and be as accurate about it as possible because I think that you guys deserve that. Whether somebody else would treat me that way or not is not really relevant to me. What matters to me is that what's fair and what's accurate. And so that's I try to look at everything from the most, like, rational, reasoned perspective possible. And I think that the only times that I really kind of go off the rails is whenever I don't do that. And so I try to be extremely measured and never tap into my emotions at all with anything, especially on stream, because I think when I do, it's always bad. It's bad every single time. And I've thought about this a lot myself. I spend a lot of time thinking about stuff like this. And I always try to avoid feeling that way. And yeah. So, exactly right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. And anyway, I think that's the big reason why people aren't calling him out and saying that stuff. Other creators aren't. And I think that now, like Charlie and other people are, you'll see other creators that will do it more. Because most people on the internet, you've got to remember that people that you work with, I mean, it's like kind of coworkers, right? I mean, I'm friends with a lot of these streamers because I'm also a streamer. It's not like we have a lot of shared interests in some cases, or, we met through playing a video game together. Like, these are coworkers and people that you understand inside of a professional space. And because of that, you have to keep that in mind whenever you're making decisions with them and all of that stuff. I mean, I do have friends as streamers, absolutely, but everybody that I'm friendly with that's a streamer, I don't consider an actual friend. And I don't think anybody should, because they're not. They're just simply coworkers and people that work in the same industry as you that you're friendly with, and you maintain a degree of decorum. That's normal and it's okay. And maybe one day they would be friends, but that hasn't happened. It's reasonable, completely reasonable. Asfan? Of course Asfan's my real friend. Of course. I mean, I don't want to go through a list of, like, oh, these are my real friends, because then people are going to be like, oh, what about this person? He's not on the list, right? But yeah, of course. I'm just talking about it. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest and direct about this.
I think this is a very weak argument, because I know if Hassan does use a shock collar, he would never let any of his friends see that, because he would know that they would call him out for it and give him shit for it, especially someone like Maya. So they just wouldn't.
It's true. It's a very good point.
No. Thus, they wouldn't be able to call him out on it or anything like that. And this whole idea of making an assumption based on things that are
everybody knew about this, etc.
Outside of what is clearly visible here, I think is useless.
Yeah.
Just because you haven't seen it in the past on stream doesn't mean it's not something he's done before, or it is very possible this was the first time. That's also very true too. What are shock collars used for? Training. And what is he currently doing with Kaya, at least based on what I've heard him talk about? Training her, or at least expanding the training on place. So maybe he decided that this might be a good tool to use for the first time. That's also entirely possible. It's not some like far-fetched, crazy conspiracies that only haters.
And I think this is another reason why people think it's like the amount of like spin that people like Hassan and I think his orbiters put on things is like very off-putting, I think, to an average person. It's extremely off-putting, and it's weird because of just how much they will blatantly lie about something. And it's not just about this topic, it's about all topics. And the amount of exaggerations, misrepresentations, outright lies, just other forms of, just shifting what's going on, that it's weird and off-putting. Yeah, it's very off-putting.
Are drumming up and
purposefully
falling
obtuse,
in line with.
Yeah,
it's
intentionally
a very
misunderstanding,
plausible thing based on what is clearly visible in the clips. Anyway, just wanted to blabber about this a bit. I know I've been very out of touch with internet creator drama.
Big mistake.
I plan to keep it that way, but occasionally can't help but poke around in a couple of the things going on out there. And yesterday was just a crazy one that I just needed to yap on a bit. That's really about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, there we go. Let me go back. I'll look at this, talk about it just for a few minutes. But Legal Mindset video about this topic's really good. I mean, I don't want to watch a whole lot more about it. I saw that he responded to this, and so like I'll probably look at that. But like otherwise, I'm not going to spend like fucking 3 hours thinking about this. So he responded to Charlie's video. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull this up and find it, because I know he did respond to it. I'll look at it. LA streamer is pissed that Moist Critical didn't message him before dropping his video. I think that this really makes Hassan look bad if that's actually what this clip is. But let me actually just watch the clip before I make a decision.
I wouldn't even breathe in the direction of Moist if I were you, to be honest. I mean, he put his fucking flag on the he put his stake on this, okay? He was like, "Oh, enough people shit on him. It's good enough." It's like obviously not a it's obviously, no matter how fucking made up a narrative it is, if a clip looks bad enough, then he will go with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it looks bad. And I think also, like, what he's effectively accusing Charlie of is that Charlie will only hold the popular opinion on a topic. He's saying that Charlie waited for enough people to come to a conclusion on this before he had an opinion on it. Which is, I mean, that's definitely, I mean, you're insulting a person's credibility there, too.
He will just use these guys. All these guys fucking do is basically farm Reddit for talking points, and Reddit can so easily be botted and manipulated. And I don't think we're ever going to get ahead of that. There's just nothing we can do. Bro, he said you're abusing Kyle. Like, no way, fuck him. Yeah, I mean, if he thinks that he can suck
He didn't say that.
Dick.
He didn't say that. He said it looked that way. And even you said it looked that way. Why are you getting mad? Like, he didn't even say that. Like, why are you I mean, I get why he's mad. Like, I understand why. But, like, at the same time, like, you've got to be reasonable here.
Weird how quiet he was about literal pedophilia in certain communities.
What are you talking about? What the fuck? See, this is the exact stuff that I'm talking about. What the fuck? What? This is the weird, off-putting, hyper fucking specific, the Destiny stuff? Destiny's in the middle of a lawsuit. He's in the middle of a lawsuit. Commenting on internet drama is way lower on the totem pole than making a conclusion on an ongoing lawsuit. He doesn't want to get entangled into a lawsuit. Of course not. This is the kind of, if that's what's being referred to, like, I don't know. And so I chose to read that comment, by the way. I read all kinds of comments. I mean, maybe some that I shouldn't as well. But my point is that that's the kind of comment that really, I think, polarizes people against the Hassan, like, area community. Is that, like, these weird connections that they make that are effectively just lies. Like, do you think that Charlie doesn't care about pedophilia? What the fuck are you trying to say? It's so weird. What the fuck? It's always about politics? Yeah, and they always dial everything up to 11. And I think that's what's really off-putting to a lot of people. I think most people, it's off-putting to somebody by that.
And it took him 2 years to fucking come out and be like, yeah, the genocide is happening and it's really fucking bad.
What are you talking about? Like, he doesn't make commentary about politics. What is this? Like, he very rarely says anything about politics at all. Like, he doesn't comment on who he was. As far as I know, he didn't endorse anybody for the 2024 election. He didn't go out and campaign for anybody. He might have made a video laughing about something stupid Trump said or something stupid that Kamala said or whatever. But, like, what does this have to do with the dog and bringing about, like, Israel, Palestine, etc.? And you're right that a lot of content creators, and Hassan is right about this in an extent, is that there are content creators that are out there that want to throw stones from a glass house. They want to criticize other people's opinions while simultaneously holding none of their own. And I get it, because people do the same thing to me. It's that, you know, if you're out there and you're trying to put yourself out there and give your opinion, and then you have people that don't have any opinions that are constantly shitting on you, because it happens to me too. That's the reason why I know it. But the point is that what the fuck does Gaza have to do with your dog? It's so weird, and it's this intentional misunderstanding. Hassan knows that Charlie doesn't do politics. He knows that he doesn't get involved with that stuff. So why are you even bringing this up? And I think that this is the type of language that mobilizes and weaponizes his audience. This is the exact type of language that happens. Charlie commented on Netanyahu and TikTok. Of course he did, because that's like Charlie commenting on Donald Trump saying something about YouTube. This is something that politics has now come into his space. He's not really making a comment on politics. He's making a comment on his space and how politics is affecting his space. This is a very, very different thing.
Actually, so
let me go back.
Charlie's really fucking bad, actually. So Charlie's been on a good streak lately. He genuinely cares about dogs. He talks about how much he cares about dogs and pets all the time. So do I, dumb fuck. That's the reason why I'm... fucking pissed off. That's the reason why I'm fucking annoyed. He could just unironically reach out and be like, hey, what's going on here?
I think that him saying that is actually kind of bad. And let me explain the reason why I think it's bad to say that. Because it presupposes that all of the articles and things that are written about you, that there could potentially be back channeling and conversations about them that are not made evident to the public. A lot of people criticize and, bring up the fact that Hassan gets a lot of positive articles written about him in a way that, they think that the articles are misleading or inaccurate or incomplete. I think that by him saying that, it will draw the conclusion and cast doubt on the people that give him any sort of positive publicity, because now they're going to think to themselves, oh, well, what if he's just talking to them like he was hoping Charlie would talk to him? Do you see kind of what I'm saying here? Like, and also, like, and here's another component to this as well, is that Charlie, let's say that Charlie does reach out to Hassan and Hassan says it isn't real, it's not what happened. Why would Charlie listen to Hassan rather than what he saw? What additional information could Hassan provide Charlie? And also, if there is information that Hassan would only provide Charlie, but not the public, why is that? What would that even possibly be? Why didn't you put that out on your stream? And so if you think about this accusation, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? Because any information that would help you and, you know, give you a better case, like, obviously Charlie knows that you said it didn't happen. Like, what are we doing here? Like, yeah, and so also hoping to bully Charlie with threats. I don't know about that. I'm not gonna accuse him of that. But what I'm saying is that because Hassan is so used to journalists reaching out, I think that's everyone should criticize him. Yeah. Anyway, his arrogance really fucked him out here. I mean, what I'm saying is that, like, of course he's not going to come out and tell you. And this is another big thing that, like, I've learned doing commentary on things, is that there have been issues. There was one issue recently, and I'm not going to give you the example of the issue, but it's an issue that I actually explicitly said that I would not make a comment on. The reality of this issue is the exact opposite of what the public's perception is. But I can't say why. And do you know what I do? I don't talk about it. That's the reason why. I don't talk about it. I don't want to get involved with it. I don't want to have anything to do with that. Exactly. And so it's fine. Exactly. And you could go in, et cetera. Are you talking about right now? No, I'm not. I'm talking about, like, the fact that this happened. My point is that whenever you try to convince a public audience that there's private information that changes what their public perspective is, they're going to think that you're lying to them, because why not just show it to them? Why would they want to take your point of view here?
Like, what was this about?
Yeah.
This clip looks bad. You know what
It does.
I mean? Hey, Hassan, I know we've been around one another before. We've actually been around one another, and a lot of the people that I know that I'm around all the time and do content with have not only been around you, but also been around Kaya. He could have just fucking hit up, not me, but any number of different people to be like, hey, do you think there's any veracity? Do you think there's any veracity to these claims?
I don't think that's very accurate, and that's not a good way of doing things. Like, so to me, like, I can compare this to, like, situations that I've had to be a part of, unfortunately. There were people that were exposed for doing things that I thought were very problematic, that I, really looking back on it, had no idea were happening. It's not like these people, and also, like, Hassan, and Charlie's right, that Hassan wouldn't have done something that was seen as bad around people that could see it as bad. It's very obvious that Hassan cares a lot about optics and how people see him. And logically, you would expect him to not use something that could make him be seen as a bad person around people who he wants to cultivate a certain image for. It's just logic. I don't know. I don't.
Just, like, don't ask me directly. Do your due diligence. Why the fuck do you go to Reddit for talking points, dumbass? What kind of fucking moron are you?
You're getting mad, bro. You're getting real mad. I get why he's mad, but, like, how is it wrong to go to Reddit for opinions, but it's right to go to the person who it happened to? Like, that's like interviewing Charles Manson and being like, did you do it? And he's like, no, of course not. They're like, wow, fuck. What are we doing? I mean, he just said he didn't do it, guys. What are we doing? Yeah, it's done. It's simple. Yeah, of course, obviously, you're going to say, why didn't he reach out to you so you could tell him that the thing that people are saying that you're doing didn't happen? Duh, you're going to say that. He didn't need to, because of course you're going to advocate for that.
It's fucking insane to me that, like, this is what goes this is what goes for like doing commentary on the internet, is just like, oh, these are the Reddit threads from some of the most like schizophrenic people you've ever actually encountered. This is all it takes for me.
I mean, here's the thing. Hassan was glazing Charlie less than a week ago because Charlie made a video that was critical of Israel indirectly because of Israel's censorship on social media. So I don't really think that Hassan has a problem with Charlie's content. I think that Hassan has a problem that Charlie's content is involving him. That's really it. I don't know what to say.
Did you hide the bad stuff from your friends?
Of course.
He said,
I mean, logically, what about that doesn't make sense? You could say that it's not true, but like, don't be shocked that that's what somebody would say. Of course, that's what somebody would say. Like, obviously, like,
that I hide.
Yeah, duh. Like, why would you do something that you know is bad in front of people that could say it's bad? Like, fucking duh. Like,
okay, I'm gonna DM him. Gross. Fucking moron. All right, whatever.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm going to DM him. Jesus Christ. Like, listen, man, if you were able to give Charlie evidence that it's not what it is, you should have shown it. You should have shown it on the fucking stream, man. You're stressing yourself out. Yeah, like, what are you doing? I don't know what I'm going to call the manager. I mean, I get it. And I do think that a lot of like, I've resolved disputes with people in DMs as well. And I think that's better. But you shouldn't expect somebody to not comment on something that happens that's a big issue like this. This has been a big issue. Whether you like it or not, it's a big issue. And I think really expecting and trying to like privately bully people, it makes no sense. Yeah. And it's just, it's so else reacts to Charlie and loves watching his videos. Yeah, I'm going to DM him, aka I'm going to shock him. It's not a personal dispute. Yeah, and like, I mean, there's certain personal issues that I have with people, but I mean, he's trying to phone a friend. Yeah, basically, right? And going to be another Ludwig situation where he's going to make Charlie delete the video or edit it. I mean, I don't think that's really going to happen. I mean, Ludwig and Charlie and Hassan are not like close friends. I think Ludwig and Hassan are much closer. I'm not saying they are close friends, but like they're closer than I think Charlie and Hassan are. That's my understanding, right? Like, and I don't know what to really say, the entitlement of it. Yeah, and I don't know why you would say that or do that or anything like that. It just doesn't really make any sense to me. I'll read some of the comments, etc. Well, I mean, come on. I mean, as I said before, right? Ludwig is a business guy, right? He doesn't care about this stuff. I mean, actually, that's not true. I think he does care about it, but he doesn't want it to be part of his content, and he just wants to make videos and not, be involved. Like, I think that if somebody doesn't want to play the game, then you should allow them to not play the game. That's okay. Now, and is that crazy for me to say? Like, if you don't want to have somebody who just does not want to be involved with any of this bullshit, like, I don't want to deal with it, that's okay. And so, yeah, he does, though. I mean, he stopped. To be fair, Ludwig did stop making mogul mail videos discussing internet drama, giving his opinion on it. He did totally stop it, which made me very angry at him because I used to react to them. And so, yes, I'm very, very upset about that. But if they call you to take down a video and you do it, you're complicit. Yeah, I mean, I think that if he tries to, I mean, it's just, I don't really see this as like any pressure to Ludwig to take down the video on him, which he mildly criticized Hassan. I wonder how long Hassan can maintain his influence over normie content creators. I think that the reason why normie content creators kowtow to it is because they don't want Hassan's audience to call them pro-genocide pedophiles. Like, that's the reason why normie content creators kowtow to this. It's because they don't want to just be slandered and lied about by an audience of people that are just ravenous liars with absolutely no consideration for the truth. And they will just openly lie and libel and slander you about anything with literally no regard to what's real. and dox you. Yes, exactly. Like they're getting bullied. Like they don't want to deal with that in general. So yeah, and I don't think Morris will bend the knee. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to. It would be ridiculous if he did, and it would make him look super bad if he did. By the way, you should never do that. It's a huge mistake. Even if you think it's the right decision and he thinks he fucked up, if you delete the video, everybody's gonna say you got paid off and you're wrong. Like it's kind of like, you know, you've already broken a glass, right? It's already happened. So yeah,